chaos. That's what it is. Being a creative person is just chaos. There's always something moving through you, and sometimes you don't know how to answer the calling. Other times you want to push it away. It's like an addiction to creativity is what it is. Unplugged, because we will always say yes to creativity. Totally Uncut, because we all make mistakes, so turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged. Isn't it kind of weird how we all act and react when the weatherman says that there's a major storm on the way? Presently on this day, which is March 23rd, 2022, this storm that's headed in this direction into the Carolinas has been wreaking havoc in Texas. There were tornadoes in New Orleans last night, and the weatherman, it's one of those things where they want you to feel fear. This storm has developed this in this state and this over here in this state, and it's coming in this direction. And you don't want to peel yourself away from the TV set because you want to make sure that you're very much aware of when that storm is going to arrive. And so at 11:03 a.m., I'm looking out over this forest, which is beautiful because it's the third day of spring. The deer have been roaming lightly, and the squirrels all over the trees. And the studio is actually set 23 feet up above the ground. I'm actually in the trees of the forest. And you look up there to see what the sky is doing, and it's grim. It is. But the storm hasn't hit yet. But inside your mind, body, and soul, your entire day has been written for you because the weatherman said, there's a storm on the way. It's created tornadoes. You should be prepared. What is prepared in 2022? What is prepared? Hey, it's Arroe. This is The Daily Mess, a chronological walk through an everyday world. I am a daily writer. I document life, breathing, exercising, looking at things the way that we're not supposed to, but we do anyway, and we just kind of document it. It's not a Dear John letter. It's not anything but just a little bit of note-taking to figure out how we're going to process the storms. This is The Daily Mess. And the brewing of the storm is something that is just very evident in the place where we stand right now. The brewing of the storm. The weather forecast. Technology can spot the birth of a hurricane off the shores of Africa, but the human heart is pounded with judgment when the slightest uneasy feeling enters the nearest emotion on call. Through daily writing, I am able to take note of mental exchanges. I once bragged that I could spot the presence of a disturbance well in advance so that I could prepare myself for what the story was probably going to become. But the problem is, though, is that when you feel a certain way and we prepare ourselves for that way, in essence, you're writing a story. You think it's going to end up this way, but the reality of it all is you have no clue how things are going to change. Because how many times have you sat there and you went, well, that's not the way I thought it was going to turn out. It went completely in a different direction because little things changed it. It's like in martial arts. You have the people that go in there and they think that they have to wave their entire arm to the right or to the left as a big block. And really all you're doing is you're trying to protect somebody else's punch or kick from hitting you. And all it takes is maybe a little movement of a quarter of an inch. Boom, that's it. Boom, that's it. And just to get it off track so it doesn't make a connection with you. And that's the way in taking that study of moving someone's foot or fist from hitting me and taking the storms and putting it in the same boat. I don't need to involve my entire body to embrace the storm. All I need to do is bump it, just bump it so that it doesn't hit me. It's not a game. It's taking the time to daily write, to be able to have a physical conversation with the self that you are and to break things down, such as the storms. The typical, I'm not feeling it, therefore it must be, which is never true. We all have mindsets, and they don't always agree with the circles of people that we walk with. But here's the thing about it. The inner core of yourself is what controls the mindset that you're presently in. You have a choice every day to either feel guilty or feel strong enough to where you're going to say, you know what? I'm not going to feel that way today. That's my choice. I'm going to make a difference in my own life. And from that difference, I don't care what others are feeling. I care about how I am, and hopefully the energy from that aura will be positive enough for somebody else to tap into. But we all have these brewing storms. And I do wish that I could perfect the mindset in the way that we can always walk forward from it. But you're always going to be hitting that mountain. You're always going to face that mountain. Now, the younger me would have fought back in situations where I had storms. I wanted to take on those storms. I can beat this. I'm greater than what you think I am. I am, because, well, I fell to my knees again today because that storm, that mental break, took me out. I wasted a lot of energy with something that really wasn't even that wrong. It's just something that you felt, and you felt like that you needed to write the story and to prepare for it. The best you can ever do on any day of the week, the best you can ever do, is just be you. You know what? Listen to the storm, figure out what it wants to do, and then move forward. Learn from it. And if the storm comes up on a different day, you listen to it again. It's a reminder. Hey, by the way, this is the way that it was. Oh, okay, cool. Hit it the way that you need to. Okay, not so bad. Because here's the thing about the storms that come to the Carolinas. They are big and nasty when they're in Texas. And oh my God, when they hit the New Orleans area, or they're hitting the central part of the United States, and they start marching toward the Carolinas, the very second that they hit those Appalachians, those Smoky Mountains and Appalachians, it breaks them up. It breaks them up. The atmosphere changes. And then this way it doesn't, and then they have to rebuild, but it doesn't rebuild until after this studio. And the eastern part of the state usually gets its butt spanked. The storms. What's breaking up your storms before they reach you? That's where you need to put your love and faith. I'm Arroe, and that's the Daily Mess.